My sister stole my wedding. But I let it happen. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who just watches their own wedding get stolen. But that's exactly what I did. And the worst part, I let it happen on purpose. Not because I'm weak, not because I didn't care, but because I knew something my sister didn't. And by the end of that day, everything she took from me, yeah, it all came crashing down. So, my name is Emily Carter. I'm 29, and until about 3 months ago, I thought I had a pretty normal life. I was engaged to a guy named Daniel. We'd been together for 4 years. He was steady, reliable, the kind of man who remembers to lock the door and check the stove twice. Not flashy, not dramatic, just safe. And honestly, I liked that, because growing up, my life was anything but calm. I have an older sister, Vanessa. And if you've ever had that one person in your life who just has to be the center of everything, yeah, that's her. Birthdays. Hers were events. Mine were acknowledged graduation. She got a party that I got a "we're proud of you" text. Even when I got engaged, my mom hugged me and the first thing she said was, "Vanessa's going to love helping you plan this." That should have been my first warning. At first everything was fine. Vanessa jumped in like she always does, loud, excited, full of ideas. She started helping with the venue, the dress, the flowers, and I told myself, okay, maybe this time she's just being supportive. But slowly, things started shifting. Little things, like how the wedding planner started calling her instead of me, or how decisions I made would suddenly get adjusted without me knowing. I picked a simple, elegant theme, soft whites, greenery, candles. A week later, I walked into a meeting and everything had turned into this over-the-top, golden glass Pinterest explosion. And Vanessa just smiled and said, "Trust me, this is better." Daniel didn't say much. Actually, he started saying less and less. About a month before the wedding, something started feeling off. You know that feeling? When nothing is technically wrong, but your gut won't shut up. Yeah. That. Daniel was suddenly busy all the time. Vanessa was always helping him with surprises. And every time I asked a question, I got the same answer. "Relax, Emily. It's your big day." Then one night, I went over to my parents' house unannounced. I walked in, and heard laughter from the kitchen. Daniel's voice, and Vanessa's. I froze. Not because they were laughing, but because of how close they sounded. I stepped in quietly, and the moment they saw me, everything changed, like a switch flipped. Too fast, too forced. That was the moment I knew. Not suspected, not wondered, knew. I didn't scream, that I didn't cry, that I didn't confront them. Instead, I did something they never saw coming. I smiled and I said, "Hey, I've been looking for you guys." From that moment on, I stopped fighting for my wedding. I let Vanessa take over every decision, every detail. The dress changed. The venue got upgraded, the guest list expanded. At one point, I looked around and realized, this wasn't even my wedding anymore. It was hers, and that was exactly what I wanted. Because while she was busy taking everything from me, I was quietly putting something else together. The week before the wedding, I met with a lawyer. 2 days later, I had documents ready. The day before the wedding, I confirmed something I already suspected. Daniel wasn't just drifting away. He was planning to leave me after the wedding. With Vanessa, yeah, let that sink in. So no, I didn't stop her. I didn't expose them early. Because if you're going to betray me, I want you to go all the way. The wedding day came. Everything was perfect. Of course it was. Vanessa planned it. She looked happier than I did. Actually, she looked like the bride. And then came the moment that I was standing at the aisle. Music playing, guests watching. Daniel waiting at the front, Vanessa standing just a little too close to him. And right before I took my first step, I turned around. People thought I was nervous. They thought I needed a moment. But what I actually did was signal the coordinator. The music stopped. The room went quiet. And the screen behind the altar turned on. At first, people were confused. Then, the video started playing. Security footage, messages, photos, everything. Daniel and Vanessa, together, laughing, touching, planning, even a clip from my parents' kitchen. The room didn't just go silent. It dropped. My mom covered her mouth. My dad stood up. Guests started whispering. And Vanessa, she went completely pale. Daniel tried to say something, anything, but there's something about truth. Once it's out, there's nowhere to hide. I walked down the aisle slowly, not to marry him, but to end it, right there, in front of everyone. When I reached the front, I looked at Vanessa, really looked at her, and I said, quietly, "You wanted my wedding." Pause. "So I gave it to you." Then I turned to Daniel. "And you wanted out." I shrugged slightly. "You're free." And just like that, I walked away. No screaming, no drama, just, done. Here's the part nobody expects. 2 weeks later, they were already together publicly, trying to play it off like some unexpected love story. But here's the thing about people like that. They don't just betray others. They betray each other too. Last I heard, they didn't even last 3 months. Turns out, when your relationship starts with lies, it doesn't exactly build on trust. As for me, I used the non-refundable wedding budget and went to Italy, alone. Best decision I've ever made. And you know what's funny? For the first time in my life, I wasn't competing with my sister. I wasn't being overlooked. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just living. So yeah, my sister stole my wedding, but I let it happen. Because sometimes, letting people take what they think they want is the fastest way to show them exactly what they lost.